Happy mid-morning, gang. All right. So who's got an extra 100 grand laying around? Just saying. Okay. You might need it. I'm going to give you a little bit of info here that you may want to pay attention to, you may want to prep for. Okay. The coming collapse of Europe. Oh, that'll never happen, Pinball. Europe is fine, right? Okay. Let's take a look at something here real quick. There's a point to all of this. I'm going to get there. I want you to look at this map. This is a map of Europe in 1915, okay? At the beginning of World War I. It's kind of how everything laid out, right? Okay, notice some of the countries there, that no longer exist. Austria-Hungary as a country doesn't exist anymore. The Ottoman Empire doesn't exist anymore. Notice there is no Bosnia, Herzegovina, anything like that. Okay, there is no Poland. There is no Czechoslovakia / the Czech Republic and Slovakia. This was 1915, okay? So let's move along. Let's take a look at a map of Europe in 1950. Okay, this is after World War II. All right, totally different map. Poland now exists. Czechoslovakia as a country exists. Yugoslavia exists, okay? You go down to French Algeria, Cyrenaica, if I'm pronouncing that right, down in the bottom center. That was the map in 1950. Okay, now let's take a look at a map in 2022, what Europe looks like today, all right? This is where we have, oh, look at this. There's now a country called Ukraine. There's now a Bosnia, there's, Tunisia, all this sort of stuff. Granted, that's North Africa, but I'm just making a point. Maps change, okay? Countries collapse, countries get taken over, countries get created. Europe is doing everything, at least the European politicians are doing everything they can to collapse the continent, okay? To basically being taken over. And before you say, who cares, I live in the United States or I live in Canada. Hold on, okay. Give you this real quick. In Germany, 23%, nearly 1 in 4 households are canceling Christmas this year. Not because of COVID, not because, hey, we don't want to go to somebody's grandma's house because we might get sick. No, they're canceling Christmas because they can't afford it. Why can't they afford it? Oh, I don't know. Germany's got 10.4% inflation right now, and they're canceling Christmas because they've got to pay for their energy, their heat, their electricity, okay? 30% of Germans right now say they're not going to be able to afford their energy in the coming months, the rest of the winter, okay? 1/3 of the country, or damn close. But Pinball, that'll never happen here. Let's take a look at Massachusetts. How about and I'll link this stuff below so you guys can read this, okay? How about Massachusetts and getting their December bills from National Grid? This story, Massachusetts residents shocked by absurd hike in utility bills from $90 to $360, 4 times as much. The average electric bill in New England went up 64%. The average national gas bill went up 24%. How's your budget looking? That checkbook, that bottomless checkbook that you have, kind of like the U.S. government, how's that looking? Okay. Europe's about to collapse. Why? Oh, let's take a look at this story. Germans banned from using effective fertilizers and shift toward green farming. Oh, I'm sorry, farmers, you aren't allowed to use any urea products anymore. Why? It's a byproduct of natural gas. Okay. We have to go green. Personally, what the hell's German going to do? Well, let's redo our entire sewer system so we can separate urine out from the toilet. I don't know. Pick something. Okay. Gee, we need to start drinking more coffee so we can use coffee for fertilizers. What does this do? If you don't have fertilizer to grow the crops, you don't get the crops. If you don't get the crops, guess what happens? People starve. Damn, we never thought about that there, Germany. Okay. They're doing their damnedest to destroy their own continent. And I'll tell you this, China's got no problem rolling right in saying, hi, we're here. Russia, it's a possibility. Hi, we've taken over part of the continent before. We're happy to do it again. Okay. Who knows if the U.S. wants European territory? I mean, hell, we can't manage our own, but, hey, let's just take more, right? But it gets better than just fertilizer. This is where I ask, how many of you guys got $100,000 sitting in your pocket going, nah, nothing to do with it? I'm assuming some of you guys know who Bjorn Andreas Bull Hansen is. He's got a YouTube channel, and I'm going to link his video as well below, so you can go watch it. But Bjorn did a video the other day on how they plan on taking your house, okay? And I looked into this, right? It's called, and like I said, go watch his video. The Energy Performance of Buildings Directive is what the EU has approved. That says all buildings, houses included, will need to be Energy Class D before 2033. It's 10 years away, guys. Okay. Now, if you live in Europe, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever been to Europe, you probably went and saw this. There are plenty of houses that were built in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, old stone villas, etc. etc. Pick something. I mean, let's talk about houses that were built in the 1960s, the 1970s, 1980s, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, yesterday, that aren't Class D, okay? What does Class D mean? Well, Class D means your house has to be completely energy efficient. You know how you buy a refrigerator or a dishwasher and it's got that Energy Star label on it? Now your house has to have that. And this directive by the government says that you have to do it at your expense. Otherwise, they're going to foreclose, condemn, take your house. Okay? So what would you have to do? Well, for most people, that would mean you're going to have to re-insulate your house, which means ripping out all the walls to put new insulation in with a higher R factor. Okay? Probably means you're going to have to replace all your windows, replace all your doors. Probably means you're going to have to, if not re-insulate your attic or your roof line, maybe replace the roof line. And while you're at that, don't forget you have to add solar panels to your house. And if you don't do all this at your own expense, they're going to take your house. Okay? Average cost expectancy, $100,000 per household. Got that kind of money? Now, let's break this into something else. Remember what we're hearing all over the place, Maxine Waters. When we socialize, I caught myself, when we take over and government control your business, the oil companies, right? That's what she said a couple of weeks ago in a hearing in the House of Representatives. We all know the stories on CBDC, central bank digital currency, right? Where basically now the Federal Reserve becomes the only bank, okay? No more Chase, no more Capital One, no more Bank of America. You have a Fed account. Mr. Pinball, you need $100,000 to get your house up to code? we'll be happy to loan you the money. We own the bank, so you'll pay us interest. We'll be happy to loan you the money, so based on what we told you you have to do, we'll profit from it so you can meet the ludicrous ideas that we have. That's what's going on in Europe. This has already been signed by the members of the EU. Again, how long until the US government, the Canadian government, the Australian government, I don't care where, pick one, okay, says, hey, that's a great idea. Let's get on board and do the same too. World Economic Forum. You'll own nothing and be happy. They'll own all the houses. Anybody ever heard of BlackRock? Okay. Just saying. This is what's going on, guys. This is the threats that we are about to see because of the insane thinking of these globalist climate change whack jobs that are sitting in all of our respective capitals. Europe's about to fall. This will bankrupt Europe. I mean, the energy costs right now are bankrupting the people of Europe. When a quarter of them are canceling Christmas because they can't put toys under the tree for the kids, okay? Or mom or dad can't get a present for each other. Santa ain't coming, okay? What happens next? Well, gee, honey, you know what? We've got to cancel weekend meals because we got to pay to keep ourselves warm. Gee, honey, we need to sell our car so we can keep ourselves warm. Gee, honey, we need $100,000 to re-insulate our house. We might as well sell the house. This is the plan, guys, and it's right in front of us. They are doing this as we speak. Now, granted, the majority of the EU has completely gone off on this leftist socialist tangent that makes no sense. I mean, the thing that kills me more than anything else is you look at all the satellite countries from the Soviet Union, okay? The Polands, the Romanias, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, whatever it would be. And all of them are doing their best to turn their countries into capitalist countries. Well, all the countries in Western Europe who've been living and enjoying capitalism for 100 years, if not longer, are going, hey, you know what? Let's try socialism because it works so well. Just look at how well the Soviet Union functioned. It makes no sense to me. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it is broke, fix it. Okay? Socialism does not work. Capitalism has proven to work everywhere it's been put into place in the history of man. Okay? There's a reason why in 250 years that the United States went from nothing but a vast forest into, for 30 years, the only superpower in the world, where most of the innovation comes from, where the wealthiest country, I don't care if you're below the poverty line to Elon Musk, the poor people in this country live better than anybody in like 95% of the rest of the countries around the world. Capitalism works. And yet, here we have Germany deciding, gee, we'll stop feeding our people. We'll stop heating our people. There was a great deal the other day. Germany came up with an agreement during the World Cup, mind you, okay, with Qatar, who's hosting the World Cup, to get petroleum from them at something like, and I don't remember the exact numbers, it was like something like 2.6 million barrels a year starting in 2026, okay, or 2.6 million barrels a year, I think it was what it was. And the German government's going, look what we did. We're doing what we can to solve our energy problem. We got 2.6 million, an agreement to get 2.6 million barrels of petroleum from Qatar. And starting in a couple of years, except right now, they get something like 90 billion barrels from Russia. They got 2.6 million. They got maybe enough to run everything for a day. Okay, but they're running around parading how this was a great deal for, they're getting themselves off of their reliance on Russia. I mean, again, the stupidity of politicians and the people going, oh, thank God they're doing something for us. Yeah, right. Okay. Europe is going to collapse under this, guys. It's pretty simple. That when the people starve, when the people freeze, okay, this whole, oh my God, we're going to go solar, wind, everything like Germany did and everything. Yeah, look how well that's working out for them. Okay. The rest of Europe is not far behind. Remember, Germany's the wealthiest country in Europe. When they fall, the rest of the countries fall like dominoes. And once whoever the savior is that comes in, be it China, be it Russia, whatever it is, the current administration we have in the United States, the current administration you have in Canada, the current administration you have in Australia is following right down the same path, guys. It's going to be pretty bad when 10 years from now, when the border that everybody's talking about is El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, because all the Americans are trying to get in there because it's a better quality of life. That's what this craziness brings. That's what you're prepping for. That's why we put food away. This is why we have our alternate heat sources, our alternate electrical sources, etc. Because the powers that be are hell-bent on destroying commercialization of everything. They want us back in the Dark Ages, where nobody had power, there are no cars, etc., etc. And if you don't have the way to get an income, there's no way in the world you can put solar panels on your house and insulate and replace your windows and yada, yada, yada. So they come in and just very simply take your house. I'm sorry, Mr. Pinball. I guess you're living on the street this week. But just in case you want a warm place to go, we have a sardine can downtown where you can move to. That's the future of Europe. Watch it closely, because it's coming here. Pinball out.